Good morning. Welcome to Unlocking Freedom in Nature and Art. We're so excited today to have you here. And I'm excited to welcome Traci Kasper. She is on the same path that I am. A lot of things in common here. But before we go do that, I just wanted to remind you, if you have any questions at all during our show, be sure to ask, or even after, put them in the text and in the comments below, and we will be sure to answer them. And be sure to like and share. We appreciate your support all the time here. And Tracy, did you realize it's going to be almost 3 years that I've been doing this podcast?
Wow, that's awesome.
So it's crazy. So I wanted to give a big welcome to Traci Kasper, who's the founder of One Small Step Walks, to our Tuesday Talks here. Welcome, Tracy.
Thank you. I'm so excited to be here. Thank you for having me.
Of course. So now, where are you coming from for our guests? And we have guests from all over the world. So,
Oh. I'm in Southern California, about a half hour from Disneyland. And it's the 80s and 90s today, so it's
we're not feeling
beautiful.
sorry for you today. I guess if you're sweating, right? If you're trying to do a walk later in the day, it might be a little bit miserable. So, I don't have that problem here because I have snow. But hey, I'm excited because I have power, right?
Yes.
It's when you have your power taken out, it's amazing how much you appreciate. It's those hot showers. You
Oh
know,
yeah. I don't know
I
how
was
to
like, I
function.
have a studio, so I have a fireplace and stuff. And like I always told my husband, it's the water. It's those little tiny things that you learn to appreciate. So,
Power is
and
a big one, especially in this day and age. Everything relies on power, so that's a big one.
it does, you don't realize how much, because even in your area, it's the water and air conditioning, you know.
Yeah, yeah, and I have an electric car and the internet, and it's just we don't know what to do nowadays when power goes out.
It was, put it this way, it was very, very quiet in our house, except for the crackling of the fire.
Oh, that sounds peaceful.
But it was very peaceful. So, and if everybody's, it was my fireplace in the studio is like building a campfire outside.
Wow.
It's-
I mean, sometimes we need that reset.
We do. So Tracy, we're going to begin with where you grew up and go back, take you back to memory lane and back to your childhood.
So I grew up in Southern California, born and raised. I've only lived outside of California for a very brief amount of time. I'm a Valley girl and through and through. So that is where I grew up. But yeah, I've lived in California just about my whole life and I love it and can't imagine living anywhere else.
So, well, yeah, it's like when you grow up in one area and you have all your family and friends, of course.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's always nice, right? And people don't
Yeah.
realize the value of friends and family. I think a lot of times, my husband, we were talking about that last night, how people, there was this time period when people's like, oh, as soon as you're 18, you need to leave home, you need to go explore, you need to do this. And it's like, not really. We need to support each other no matter where we're at in the world. And I think people, families that function, stay kind of together and have a good balance, it's actually really rewarding.
Yeah. I grew up with a very strong family value and my mom really drilled that into me. And it's kind of like you can't live with them, you can't live without them type of situation. Love them. I love them. But like I'll get into this in a little bit when I talk about my community, but it's a type of community. And when things happen in certain families, families are there for you and like no one else would be. So at least that's how mine is.
Right.
So
We
I'm
pray all families are like that. And I know they're not.
yeah.
And we all have different things in our family that we just don't want to talk about, right? There's always a challenge. But yes, and no, people forget families are not perfect, friends are not perfect, and that's because we're not perfect either.
Absolutely.
But all right, so you grew up there in California. You went to school there, and
I did.
anything exciting? What were you like as a teenager?
Uh, I was so shy. I did not want to really talk to anybody. I mean, the fact that I now go out and do podcasts and have a community, it is a complete 180 of how I was. I mean, I had my friend group, and in my friend group, I was very like loud and everything, but outside of that, I was extremely shy.
And so, and what were you like into when you were 16? What was your like favorite subjects in school?
I did not like school. I got by with,
Hey, I can relate to that one.
I could get B's without trying, and I didn't care. So I just kind of got by and graduated, went to college, um, got my degree in psychology. I loved psychology, but I, and now this is gonna, I love boy bands and I still do. So I'm that type of era when NSYNC and Backstreet Boys were super big, 25 years ago, and I'm still keeping it alive.
That's awesome. Hey, and I want to say hi to Aika. So I've been missing her here. She's amazing person. She's part of our community here, which you've joined now, Tracy. And like I said, often we make our own family too, especially if the one we grew up treated us poorly.
Yeah.
Very, very true.
Yes, very true. Yeah.
So boy bands, that's
Yeah.
I get it. It is. So now you grew up in town or on outside of town in a small,
It was like suburbs. It was very, I want to say boring, like nothing,
but leave
like
it to Beaver scene.
sort of, yeah. Like, yeah, I just, went to school, hung out with my friends, and like very mundane. Things didn't kind of change until I was in my early 20s, and that's when
All
things
right.
kind of,
Yeah, we want to go to that story. Let's hear about what happened. What's made this change?
I lost my mom.
I'm sorry.
So that really took my very boring and mundane everyday life, and she was my everything. And so I was 21 and I was very naive and very sheltered, and she did everything for me. So I was the age of an adult, but I was not like mentally an adult. And so I was thrown into that. And my parents were married at the time, but it's just my mom was kind of like the glue that held everything together. And I still talk to my dad. I still have a relationship with my dad, but it was just like my mom was, she was my everything. So that kind of changed everything. And that's kind of, I want to say, where my journey starts. And I had to figure out how to navigate that. And I had no idea. I did not have the tools, I did not have the skills. So it took a while. And um, my 20s were a mess.
She was your glue. She was almost your identity because you were almost living through her, it sounds like.
Not that I was
A
living through
ways, but
her, but
she was a very positive influence, and I can tell. Was it? Don't if you don't mind me asking, was it sudden?
sort of. She had cancer, but we only knew for a couple months. So, yeah.
Yeah, my husband is amazing what cancer can do, or anything sudden, and I know you know this, how time can go by fast and how precious each moment is with people. It's like, don't wait till tomorrow because you might not have tomorrow.
Exactly. But more than that, take care of your health and be your own advocate, because our health system doesn't really allow for that. And I won't go too far into it, but that's another reason for my journey is I am my own advocate and I take things into my own hands. And if someone, gives me news that I don't like, I'll go and I'll either get a second opinion or try an alternative method or something like that.
Right. We had a doctor, if I can pronounce her right now, it's anyway, she was on our show a few months ago and she had come up with cancer and she's been an internal specialist doctor for 30 some years. And she was talking about different tests to take and all of the positive things. And it's amazing what the things that are out there that can help us now. So, but let's hear about your journey then. Getting through all of this, what did you do, and what started you on the path?
So I'm a huge advocate for mental health, huge. So I found a therapist and I've been working with her for 13, 15 years, something like that. And she really saved me. However, I did the work. You have to be willing to change, to do the hard things, and basically just take it one small step at a time. And so I did the work. I confronted the trauma that I had, and um, basically that my worst fear had come true. And so then I was working through that, but all the while I was not fueling my body in the best way. And I just ate grilled cheese and quesadillas all the time and for every meal, pizza, ice cream. And now I'm not saying not to eat those things ever, but maybe not for every meal every day, because it started to affect me and I was in pain all the time. I didn't feel good. Then I was diagnosed with an autoimmune. And that's really when I started to take my health journey seriously. Everybody kept telling me I needed to change the way that I ate. But I refused. I said, I've made it this far. This is how I eat. I don't like other food. So it took me 2 years before I even changed anything. And once I did, I found this thing where you stop eating certain food groups, and then after 30 days, you introduce them back one at a time to see how your body's reacting to it. And so I did that, and I felt phenomenal. And it was a turning point because I really realized how our bodies are designed to feel. You're not designed to feel like crap. Like you're not designed to feel fatigued and in pain. And it doesn't matter what you've been through. And I had been through at least one car accident by this point. And so, and then like I was storing a bunch of trauma in my body. Um, and so I just realized if I properly fuel my body, I can feel like I'm like 16 again. So much energy, no pain. Um, and so that's what I started to do, but I was off and on, and I was off and on and off and on. So I did that for a few years. And then finally in 2022, I said, I'm done. I'm done playing around. I'm done feeling horrible. I want to feel good. I want to enjoy my body. And so now since 2022, I've been off gluten and dairy because I found for my body, those things don't work. That's not for everyone. And I feel amazing now. But another big part of it is that I actually started moving and adding movement, because I hated going to the gym. I hated going on walks. I hated just doing anything. And I started walking with my friends and my family. And when I did that, I fell in love with it because I realized that I'm getting all the health benefits from it, but it's fun and you don't feel like you're doing any movement. So that's kind of where the walking came in.
Right. Well, we're going to go back here for just a second because we have a lot to uncover when it comes to the walking stuff. So, food, your health is so important, what you put in. And the kind of diet you were talking about is, I remember our daughter's pediatrician having us do that for her when we were trying to figure out what an allergy was, taking different foods away and stuff, because sometimes that's the easiest way to figure some stuff out. But a lot of people don't realize for like gluten allergies is you need to read the labels. Read the labels on everything and on dairy. It's kind of like I have a lemon allergy, right? And so I have to always read the labels because I get really, really sick. Or if it's just a small thing, not as big a deal. But sometimes it just depends on the day. But then for gluten, what people don't, a lot of your soy sauces. And so I cook with coconut amino acids. There's always usually a substitute, or you might just be slightly intolerant. So like if I make bread, I make, I use a bread that's from Italy. Um, I always, co-
Mhm.
I've always cooked and I cook organically and I have my own gardens and stuff. But a lot of times we don't realize what's the ingredients. It's kind of like my husband a few weeks, he had bought a loaf of the sourdough bread. Well, it sat in the drawer because I didn't touch it because I avoid gluten, but I made homemade bread, about the same time. The homemade bread will last 3 days and then start molding. That bread sat there, and we thought it was one of the healthier breads. Over 3 weeks, no mold.
Yeah.
So it's like
Yeah.
you said, it's what you put in your body. Make sure you do read those ingredients. And yeah, sometimes we're just hungry, and so it's like you'll stop and you'll just like, okay, whatever. Today's my cheat day. Don't beat yourself up for it. Of
No.
course, you may pay for it later. It's like if I have gluten, I have really bad stomach aches, or sharp pains and I even have gluten tablets and everything else, but you
Yeah.
understand what it's like.
Oh, yeah. And we're not striving for perfection here. And I'm not telling everyone to go out and stop and cut out all of this stuff. I just figure out what works for my body and what
Right.
doesn't. But there's so much to unpack there because I really dove hard into ingredients of what I put on my body, in my body. And I found that there's so many things that are not regulated and that really are harmful to our bodies because of like my mom, she never smoked a day in her life. She was not a drinker. She, she didn't do anything like crazy, but what she did use was the cheapest products. And they have now, I mean, this was we're coming up on the 20-year anniversary of losing her, which is insane to me. But nowadays, we are so much more mindful of our ingredients. But back in the day, like everything had like something that was a carcinogen. And we've become more knowledgeable on those things. People are looking to avoid those things. So I've I've dove real deep down that.
Hey, I love it though, because it's like people say, "Oh, I got shop at this store, health store, and so it's all healthy ingredients." And I'm like, "Did you actually read the label?"
Yeah.
And just because you think it may be healthy, it doesn't guarantee it is. And I
No.
look in the order of, which has more. I cook enough so I know what ingredients should be
Mhm.
in something, but it's kind of like we went up to Canada last year, and for some reason, because you hear all these stories about how all these other countries won't accept grow this food or that food.
Yep.
The little stores we went to were filled with the stuff that you shouldn't be allowed in the stores. There were so many it was all the bad ingredient stuff. And I'm like, oh my gosh, that is really scary, or you're in a new area and you're just trying to find something to eat. It's like
Yeah.
going to the gas station and try to find something healthy in there to eat.
Well, I
That's
mean,
kind of
that's a
what
gas
it,
station,
but
but
it's like late or you're traveling and you're just like, okay,
yeah.
what am I going to eat here that is somewhat healthy? And usually I end up with like some almonds or something, but
Yeah, so
it's
I've done a
weird.
lot of preparation for those types of things where I'll bring my own snacks so that I'm not caught in those types of situations because you don't want hungry, Tracy. But I mean, you also want to enjoy life. Like if you want a treat, if I mean, I love sugar, I also love salt. Like, so if I want a treat, sometimes I will do that as well. It's just you have to find the balance and you have to like if you're feeling bad all the time, maybe make a change, excuse me. But if it's not affecting you, then it's probably fine. Um, I
Yeah,
could
and
go on and
we're
on about it.
we are so lucky because in today's age, you can go pretty much any store here, probably I'm sure in California too, where you can find healthy ingredients, healthy snacks,
Yeah.
And it's like, yes, I still cook with sugar, but I just use organic sugars and I use honeys and molasses, if when you use natural ingredients, if you look back, because my grandparents had farms and ranches, right? So when you grow up that way and you look back, they were healthy. They had so much energy all the time. Farmers don't retire. And that's
Yeah.
what people forget. They have to eat healthy and stuff. And they weren't doing the margarine. They do regular butter, that just
Hmm.
natural products. And when
Yeah.
you do that, and they were slim. Nobody was overweight. It wasn't until all of this other stuff came in. So,
Yeah.
anyway, that is enough probably on our healthy eating. Healthy eating, yes, I'm a advocate. I even just wrote an article about drinking water because I grew up doing fashion. Actually, my degree's in fashion merchandising and design, but I'm all about healthy. And so I just did one on drinking water and what you drink and stuff underneath my Northwest Style and Image site, which is of course tied to this. But go there and read the article if you have time. So, but yes, what we put into our bodies affects us immensely.
Yes.
But also, I totally get it. One of the things I learned a long time ago with my tumors is we all can different people there's like cancer type cells in all our bodies, right? And it
Yes.
can affect it depending on what we eat or different things can trigger it and make it come alive, and people don't even realize it when you start doing the research. And I suggest everybody start doing the research, but don't become a fanatic and don't try changing other people
Right. Exactly.
because it'll just
Exactly.
backfire because nobody wants to be told what to do. They
No.
just want to listen to what your experience is,
Exactly.
right? But one of the things I learned was you have to stretch daily or exercise daily, even for 10 minutes or 5 minutes.
Hmm.
So let's hear the rest of your journey.
Yeah. So I found that walking was something that I could do consistently because I hated going to the gym and all these things, but I wouldn't walk by myself. So when I was walking with family or with friends, I started to go more often and I started to crave it. And I was walking outside, so I was getting the benefit of the fresh air and the vitamin D, and then, the community where it would just uplift my mindset because mindset is a huge part of all of this. Like you can change the way you eat, you can go to the gym all the time, but if your mindset is not where is not in a positive frame, then nothing's going to stick on those hard days. You're just going to give up. And so mindset is a huge part of that. And one
It
thing,
is. And people don't realize it because I know a lot of therapists use walking to even talk
mhm,
with their patients and stuff anymore. Or like when my grandson was at, he's like, goes, I just love walking with you and hiking because when you hike, your mind just, you start taking in everything that's there. So you, like you said, it's almost like it releases all that, all the bad, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
There's, but, and you can feel it. You can just feel your body just, and you, it does become almost addiction. I'm the same way with, I'm right there with you. It does almost become an addiction, but it's a good addiction.
Yeah. Yeah. And one thing I talk a lot about is the difference between consistency and perfection, because perfection is not attainable, it's not healthy. And when you're when you're in a perfectionist mindset, you're going and you're so excited in the beginning and you're so determined, I'm going to make this change, and then day 3 or 4 come along and you're tired or you hurt or something's bugging you, and you just throw in the towel and think, okay, well, since I didn't do it today, all my progress is gone and I failed. Where with consistency, you need rest days. And if something happens and it throws a wrench into your plan, that's fine. Just get up the next day and do it again. And if you, that is where the growth happens, that is where the mindset shifts happen. And if you keep doing that, then you'll become consistent, you'll start to see the changes, and that's where the magic happens.
It does. So couldn't agree more with you. Well, my goal is always to do like 3 hikes a month during the summertime. This time of year, it's like, okay, if I can just get out twice, and I just hike on our property as well. But if I can go on 2 hikes, but it's amazing your energy level. Where my husband will say, he goes, your attitude switches. And you can see the change because it does. There's just like, it takes that cortisol
Yeah.
stressor away. You don't even realize how stressed you are a lot of times until you go hiking. And it also clears our minds.
Yeah. Yeah, it does. It really does. And then if you're walking with a friend, like you get that community feel of
Right.
it. And so that's why I've created my community.
So that's amazing. And she's a part of so she's a part of our community, but she's also part of the Mother Earth Effect community as well, which I know Olivia's coming out with a book here and stuff too, as well. Here, I was one of the chapter writers.
Awesome.
But it's amazing because it's all about earthing, grounding, spending time outside in nature.
Mm,
And that's what we are talking about is spending time outside in nature. It's free. It's a free way to exercise to gain those health benefits, and it's mentally healthy.
yes.
The other day my husband was watching this show and it was this doctor talking about people will start rapidly aging when they don't take the time to walk, get outside in nature, to move. You hear all these times, so it's like, oh, I don't want to take the stairs. I purposely always take the stairs.
Mhm. Yeah, so about a little more than a year ago, I actually had a surgery in my leg. It was pretty intense. They found a benign tumor inside my shin bone, and they had to remove it kind of abruptly. And so then my mobility was taken away.
Oh no.
And I was on crutches. I couldn't put any weight on my leg. I couldn't drive for 4 months. And so it was a lot. But because I had already made the foundation of the movement that I do, I was able to, like they told me I couldn't even put my foot on the ground for 3 months. Well, I did it in 2 months. And then at 3 months, I started to begin walking and all of that. But all of this to be said, it's been a little over a year now. And now every time I take the stairs, I am so grateful because I couldn't take the stairs for 8 months. And so I get so excited when I take the stairs and I'm like, this doesn't hurt and it feels great. And you just, you don't realize until it's taken away from you.
Yeah, well, and after surgeries, it's like what's amazed me with my because I've had a couple different. I had a foot surgery and a knee surgery, so been there. And it's how you can't move your leg. It's like all of that. It's amazing how after surgery, it's like it's so weak, and you're just like, what? But exercise is so important. And it's like if you want to stay younger,
Mhm.
it's and like he was going through, it's not only your movement, but it's to help you mentally, to
Yes.
mentally stay. If you can't walk up the stairs or stand on one leg, you're aging faster than anybody. It's like we will
Yeah.
see people are always mixed because I'm 61. I'm a grandma of five teenagers.
Oh.
And yes, there's times I feel like I'm 90 years old, and but even if I have the flu, like even a stomach, I'm still stretching daily because
Mhm.
I don't want to lose my mobility. I try to stay as active as possible, but I
Fantastic.
think more than anything because stretching, and when you feel good, it helps us mentally, right? But it
Yeah.
also, when you're able to go outside and just breathe in that fresh air, it just meant, I don't know, I become more creative.
Yeah. I become a nicer person. I'm calmer. You just feel the peace
I
settle
just
in.
realized it's like having our coffee,
I've
you know,
got my water over
or
here.
your water,
Yeah.
it's like you need it, it's like,
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Like after this, I'm gonna go outside and just sit there for a couple minutes. And even that, like it doesn't have to be an hour, it doesn't have to be a long period of time. If all you have is a couple minutes, take that. Walk around the block, walk around your house or your office. Just if you have the sunshine outside, go and get the sunshine. Um,
so now
I
what,
I thrive in the sunshine.
so when you were healing up from your surgery, what was like the first things that you did just to help motivate those that might be going through that?
So I really let myself rest because we're in this day and age where it's like we gotta go, go, go. And it's hard because it's such a great place in my health and in my movement journey. And this really set me back, but I took it as a lesson and I took it as I needed to slow down. And so it forced me to slow down. I couldn't go anywhere, I couldn't do anything. So, and I took my community through the journey with me. It wasn't all sunshine and rainbows, but that's not how life works.
Well,
But
you're
if
a
you
mom, aren't
have
you?
I'm
You're
not I'm
you're
not
not.
biologically a mom. My sister has three children that I
Okay.
live half the time with them, and my life kind of revolves
So
around them.
that's the kids I see. So
Yeah, yeah. So that those I have 12-year-old nephew, 8-year-old niece, and a 4-year-old nephew. And
that's family.
yeah, they are my world. They don't even realize it, but my sister is my best friend, and I tell her I like them better than her. So
Yeah.
yeah,
I get it. I know. My daughter's like, you spoil the grandkids. It's like, yeah, but they still have the same rules. But yeah, I just I love all my nieces and nephews, everyone. It's fun.
yeah.
And you're being an inspiration for each one of them. Uh, So
That's what I'm hoping is that they saw me through the surgery, and I really wanted them to see how I how I dealt with it and how I wasn't like woe is me the whole time. I still got up. I would go on little walks on my crutches and I would take them with me. I mean, it would be like this far, but still, like I was getting up and I needed it. And I wanted to show them that, yes, I'm still healing and don't jump on my leg, please. But we can still go out and we can still live life. This isn't like the end all be all.
Well, and the one thing is when you inspire, or like, okay, so you're trying to inspire your niece and nephews, right? Or like you're trying to get somebody else to walk. The best way is to say, hey, let's go on a walk because that's actually making you commit to it as well.
Yes. Yes, that's the secret.
And one of the secret, because I have a lot of people like, well, how do you do that? I schedule myself appointment times.
Mhm,
Like, sorry, I'm busy. I'm in a meeting, and my meeting might be in the woods for 2 hours or that
mhm.
afternoon or whatever. But that's my meeting because that's me meeting nature. I'm spending that time that I need to out there. And so there is nothing wrong with scheduling yourself a certain amount of time for different things. And people forget that. They think they have to be busy meeting other people. You don't,
Mhm.
unless you want to take a friend or somebody with you, which is always fun. But otherwise, just schedule it, whatever time works best for you. Sometimes it might be first thing in the morning, especially if it's hot outside or later in the evening. Um, but schedule it. And if you don't make it, like you said, change it. You
Yeah.
can be flexible. It's like, oh yeah, I had to move my appointment up, but it's like when you start taking a little bit of control like that, it's saying no to things that you don't really need to do. But I think exercise, to be honest, going on walks, spending that time out in nature is a need.
Yes, absolutely. And that's again one of the reasons why I created my walking group is so that I can help people start those habits if they really don't have the motivation to do it on their own. Because that's where I was, where I wouldn't. I waited for, someone to be available because I was not going to do it on my own. And so now we meet the first Saturday of every month and we walk along the beach. I mean, come on. It's amazing.
Beautiful.
And like you said, it's free. It's free to join. You come out, you meet people that have the same goals that you have. You're moving your body, and it's also quick, so it doesn't take up your whole day.
Right. Well,
And
and the beach, that's like,
yeah,
it's a beautiful spot. If I'm not hiking, I love hiking the beach. Well, I love hiking, but the beach, the sound of the waves, the smell of the ocean, there's usually always a breeze. It's very seldom it's not, and not too hot, you know,
so I mean,
usually.
it does get pretty hot here, but
But you're going in the mornings at least, right?
yeah, yeah, we're going in the mornings, and right now it's been so nice. And it's always on a paved path, so we're not walking in the sand because that's a little bit too crazy
Unless
right
you
now.
want the extra
Yeah,
exercise.
go for it. But we're walking on a paved path and we just walk 1 mile talking the whole time, turn around, walk the other mile, and then you're done. And everyone that shows up says, we live so close to the beach and we don't take advantage of it. And so that's another reason. And I'm like, same. I always say every year I'm going to go to the beach more often. It's amazing, like what it does for your mind, and we just don't go. So now I have an
Yeah,
excuse to.
well, it's been probably like 10 years ago, maybe less. I can't remember, but I was doing an art show and I'd been working on my art pieces because I do these huge sculptures, right, for two clients. And it was August, and I realized I had not taken the time to do anything but work in my studio and maybe go out to the garden a little bit, but I wasn't going on my walks. And I was totally stressed out. And I walked to the beach that day and I was like, oh my gosh, we haven't even taken our boat out this year. And this is the first time to the beach. And we moved here because of the recreation. And
Mhm.
I was like, no, I cannot. I just started bawling because I was like, I am missing out on the beauty here and all the time, So then it was like, no, I'm scheduling all my art stuff out to take longer so I have those times that I can do more stuff. A lot of times, clients will rush you into doing things. And you want to always make people. I'm a person that like tries to make people happy all the time, right? And then it was like, but it was killing me in a sense, So after that, I was like, no. And so like my new goal is, so we got our grandkids and stuff, all these backpacks, and it's like, and I realized the hiking of about a couple of several years ago, all putting this goal ended up doing 2 to 3 hikes. And we have so many places with alpine lakes in this area that being able to go to those places is just so rewarding.
Yeah.
It's like going to the ocean because when you walk on these trails, and these are not paved trails by at all, because we're hiking up into high mountain places you can't even get to this time of year. But the trails, there's always, all the different wildlife. There's the birds singing, there's the grasses, the smell of the different types of trees in the area.
Mhm.
And it's just gorgeous. And when you get up to that lake and you just sit there, and I always take a picnic, a sandwich or something in the backpack,
Uh-huh.
because I just want to spend the day. I'm not the person that rushes just to take a picture of the summit and rush back down. No, I want to enjoy the whole way up and the whole way down.
Yeah, that's amazing. I'm like mentally there with you right now.
Awesome. So, where's your favorite place that you've gone and hiked to before?
So I have a very, very extreme fear of snakes. So I do not hike.
Um, Same
I
here, but guess what? We don't have poisonous snakes in our area for an hour away.
um I I won't go into it too far, but like I can't even I can't even walk like near a, a hilly area. So I just
I get it, so don't feel bad.
so but I go on paved paths. Honestly, the ocean is my happy place, and we have so many gorgeous beaches like within like an hour drive. There's so many. Um, and Recently we did Laguna Beach, and I had to go back the next month. That might be my favorite one so far. It's just I looked like a tourist the whole time because I was like, this is gorgeous, and taking
Well,
so
I was
many
a
pictures.
tourist last time, but it's been, gosh, like 35 years probably since I went there. It's been a long time.
It's probably changed a little bit, but it's still beautiful. And what I love is on my last walk, we did it at a different beach, and there was so many people out just walking, like so many people. There was barely any people just like, hanging out on the beach. It was just walkers and walkers and everyone, all ages and all types of people. And it was just amazing to see everybody doing that.
Oh, it is. And if you haven't been to the Pacific Ocean, the Pacific Northwest, the beaches along Washington, Oregon, and California are some of the most incredible beaches, and going clear up to Alaska, all along the cliffs, the rock formations, the
Mm,
sand. It's like I don't know, I think there's an ugly beach.
I don't think that
It,
exists.
it doesn't exist, but it's just so beautiful and peaceful. It's just, I don't know. Whenever I'm at the ocean, I just get that, like that, you
Yeah.
know. No,
Yeah.
it doesn't matter how many times you go. It's just
No.
like it's like new and refreshing every year,
Yeah.
every time, right?
The wildlife, you never know what you're going to see. And then people watching, I love people watching. Yeah, it's amazing.
So that's awesome. So now looking back on your journey, What has it taught you about resilience?
Um, I pride myself in resilience and knowing that looking back and all the things that I've been through, losing my mom, getting diagnosed with the autoimmune, having surgery and getting my mobility taken away, um, I've realized that I have become somebody because I was not like this before, but I've become somebody where it doesn't matter what happens to me, I will pivot and I will get through it. And that has taken a lot of work to get there. It's a daily like muscle that you have to stretch to keep your mindset in the way in where it needs to be. But a lot of that came from, I noticed a lot of that when I had my surgery because there was a time where, I was waiting for the biopsy. I didn't know if they were going to have to amputate my leg. I didn't know if it was cancer. And my mindset was, whatever it is, I'll get through it because I always have and I always will.
Awesome. That's challenging. I want to say hi to Vanessa and everybody else is here. I can't see everybody, but she said, I'm a tree hugger and love to touch the water in lakes and rivers. It's very healing.
Yes, it
Yes, it
is.
is. It's kind of like I have to, if I'm at the ocean, I have to take my shoes off, walk in the sand. Okay.
Yes, it feels so good to do that.
But so if you were going back in time as a younger girl, what would you tell yourself?
That question always makes me cry. um, I would really just want to give her a hug and tell her that things aren't going to be easy, but it will be okay.
So, and what would you tell her about walking?
Um, that it's more fun than she thinks.
I know if you look back as a kid, you're like, "Oh, okay, whatever." But as a kid, actually, there was times I rode my bike 18 miles a day.
Wow.
So I used to walk and ride all the time when I'm growing up, everywhere.
I was the
I lived and
kid.
grew up in a small community, so it
Mhm.
was easy because if you grow up in town, you can't do that, and you do have to take precautions. And I am probably one of the more paranoid persons. And that was because my cousin was actually kidnapped and killed by the I-5 strangler down there in California when I was like 14. So I've always, and I've worked with, behind the scenes with trying to be very proactive of helping kids with like the police department. I had helped with the block home program and different things. So I've seen behind the scenes type stuff. So I
Mhm.
always tell people to always be aware of your surroundings when
Mhm.
you are hiking. Don't put the earbuds in both ears. Make sure you always have one so you can always know who is there and you can hear stuff there as well.
Yes.
Besides, you'll miss out on the sounds of the ocean, right?
Yes, absolutely. For
Any other advice you would give people, like what to take or what to be aware of when they are going on these walks, especially if they're by themselves?
I mean, I really specialize in community walking. And my first bit of advice is just do it, which seems simple, but that's the hardest part. Just get started. It doesn't matter what it looks like. You don't have to have all the right equipment. You don't have to look perfect. You don't have to have the cute outfit. You just have to go and you just have to do it. So, whether that's for 5 minutes today or however long you can, just start somewhere.
I love it. So, one of the things I always tell people is dress some layers, especially if you're not sure. I always take a backpack, and that's because I always carry water. I'm going in the high lakes though, so there's no town. you know, there's nothing out there except sometimes huckleberries. and usually there is a stream, so we have a water filter. So if we need that, or you
Cool.
have springs rise up out of the ground in different sections. So if you know that, you can refill your bottles there, right? But I always take a pack with like first aid stuff because it depends on how long your hike is. But I would always recommend taking something that's water to drink. So
Yeah, that's awesome. I wouldn't even have the first clue of how to to be successful or to do that, but it sounds really, really awesome.
I'm sure you would do extremely well. It's just little tips that people don't, you take for granted. It's like I had just asked people, it's like, what would you put in your backpack, Because even in just a day pack, if you have it, it's actually extra weights, a little bit of weight, so that it helps you. Of course, I never would probably on the beach. Beach, I would just do my water bottle.
Yeah.
But when you're away from town, you have to think about putting Benadryl in case you got stung by a bee or somebody else did. It's always
Mhm.
a lot of times it's not for me. It's for like somebody else that's with me or somebody that I run along that's on the trail that never has something. It's like we have to take bear mace with us, the
Wow.
bear spray, because we don't know. We could run into a black bear or a grizzly or a moose or a cougar, So you have to prepare in advance and be always alert of where you're at because it could be a two-legged critter or it could be a four-legged critter. So,
Hmm. Yeah. Yeah, it's definitely a different scene than I'm used to walking in.
but no matter what, go enjoy it.
Hmm.
Snap a few photos, take the time what because you have to watch where you're walking so you don't break your neck or walk up a cliff or step on a jellyfish, right? But you're on this cement trail. So, but if you're not on that trail, just be aware of your surroundings and go have fun. Enjoy. Any
Yes.
last words? I mean, I can't believe how fast time is gone.
No, I mean, if I'm always willing to talk to anybody, if you have any questions for me, please don't hesitate to reach out. I've been there, and there's nothing that you can say that will surprise me, and so I'm here for you.
And Tracy's the person, if you're looking at probably starting a small group to go out hiking, if you need some tips, I'm sure she could share those with you. So.
Exactly.
So thank you so much for being here, Tracy. It's been my honor meeting you and just getting to know you more. And it always amazes me when I start talking with all of our guests like you, how much we have in common,
Hmm.
and this is a positive energy. And I just put it out there. Everybody go outside, breathe in that fresh air, do some exercise, movement. And if you can't, start with one step at a time, right?
Exactly. Just do what you can.
And even if it's in the house, at least walk from one room to the end, open a window or something, and just
Mhm.
get that fresh air. And you do what you can today. And every day, every time you do it, just do a little bit more, and you're going to realize how much stronger you get.
Yeah, little bits over time compound to huge changes.
Any last words?
No, I really appreciate you inviting me into the community, and it was really nice to talk to you and to meet everybody.
Of course. Well, it is our honor, and we're excited to have you here in the community. And we expect you to share a few photos here and there just to show that beautiful ocean and stuff. So always love it
Deal.
when everybody shares positive quotes or different, photos of where they're at that time. So thank you so much. I want to thank each and every person here. And be sure to follow along, like and share, invite friends. And also be sure to check out my website, unlockingfreedominnature.com. I'm still working on updating, but there's a lot there. And you'll notice that I've kind of combined a few different links to different sites at the same time. And if you want to hear, I will be posting Tracy's YouTube video there as well. underneath our guest speakers, where you can just go click on there and on their name, and it'll pull your YouTube video. Thank you. Thanks everyone for being here today. Everyone, have a great week.